Yes, people, we are back live. We are back live on the Sarcasm City TV YouTube for the second edition of the Sarcasm City specials. Second wave, people. Sarcasm City TV specials, second waves, where I sit down one on one with some of the biggest content creators, biggest up and coming second wave content creators in the footballing space and get their journey so far from the very jump in the time machine, go from the very beginning all the way up until now. So we hear about their entire back story. Big up to everyone that locked in yesterday to the first one I did with Judge Mo. Some will remember, some Sarcasm City TV members will remember 5 to 6 months ago, I did the Sarcasm City TV special, the Gold Jackets. I did all of the GOATs, all of the Mount Rushmore candidates, you know what I'm saying? All of the super duper stars, all of the people that helped this space become what it has become. I had Troops on, I had Rants on, I had Gunner, I had Grizz, Carefree Lewis, Matisse, etc., etc. So this is the exact same format. The only difference is this is the Sarcasm City special. This is the second wave. So this is the future Mount Rushmore candidates, future GOATs, you know what I'm saying? Future people that are going to help this scene become even bigger than what it is. So this is the second class. Before anyone says anything like this is a criticism, I put myself in this class. I'm in the second class. So this is by no way any criticism of anyone I bring on. So like I said yesterday, big up to everyone that locked in to the episode with Judge Mo. But now this is the second edition. And this person I'm bringing on here, I think he's just built for this space. I think when it comes to debating people, whether it's people in the chat, whether it's on panels, some people are just born to do this and have back and forth with people. And I think he's severely underrated for his ability to go back and forth with people and get his point across. And it's clear, it's concise, it's full of passion, but it's never erratic. There's always a level of composure. I've never watched him and been confused by what he said. And I'm always up for debates. I'm even like, yeah, I understand why people don't call him out. I get it to the point. He was doing a show last week on his channel and he's a Spurs fan. He was talking about Ange. I like Ange. I'm not even a Spurs fan. I felt away because I back Ange because of what he was talking about because of the way. I was like, you know what? I don't blame you lot in the chat. This is why you see him working with big content creators. This is why he's worked with Rants. This is why he's worked with Gunner. This is why he's been on the Football Terrace. This is why you see the numbers his channel continuously does. This is why you see whether it's a live stream, whether it's a pre-recorded video, you see our pre-recorded video, you see big numbers in the chat, you see the following we has, and that's what this show is all about, is giving people their flowers. Like that's what it's. There's so much criticism, so much critique in this space, and a hell of a lot of it unfair. So this is the flip side to that. So not only are we getting this person's backstory, we're also here to give them their flowers and tell them how good they are. Because when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, the second wave and the second class, he may be the first one to actually break from this class and go into the gold class. He may actually, because I think he is that skilled. And again, let me repeat this. I think severely underrated, because when it comes to whether he's hosting a show by himself, whether he's got someone on a show with him, whether he's got multiple panelists on with him, or whether he's on someone else's show, man always knocks, consistently at a high level. Never seen this man perform a poor show on my life. If someone can see it, never, ever. You know, like when they say Jadakiss is certain rappers, Jadakiss has never had a bad verse, never seen this man have a bad live stream. Ever. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely ridiculous, the consistency he shows. So I got a welcome to the show. My like Football Heritage TV, Savva is in the building. How are we doing, Savva? How are we doing, my guy? What's going on?
Oh, it's a bit of a big build up there. I feel like I've got my A game ready to go. I'm hyped up. No, look. First of all, thank you for having me. When you reached out about doing this sort of thing, I thought, yeah, this is different. This is, the sort of thing I've tried to do in the past, right? Where you want to speak to other creators, and sometimes you want to get away from the actual football debate and actually get to know the person. So, look, thanks for having me. I'm sure there'll be some in your chat that know of me, and feel how they do, and I'm sure there'll be a few that
Yo,
will get.
you know, that's not what we're doing. You're getting your flowers today. We are not underrating it because people in my chat are already bigging you up, and my chat don't lie. My chat don't like a content creator. They might, if they don't like a comment, I make her an opinion I have. They'll let me know, like for real. Like I'm telling you now. Look, man, is saying big up to Savva, top guy for real as well. Big up to Savva, one of the very few Spurs fans regularly I listen to, and that's something I can add whilst you're on the stream as well. You don't hide behind it's Spurs. Let's just hide behind the Spursy tag and let's just not expect anything and be of low standards. I respect that because that's easy to do. I see so many Spurs fans do that. We're just gonna hide behind, but you're like, no, we calling this out. We can't go. We can't have 3 wins in 10, and that's okay. I respect that highly for true. And the chat, as you can see, is bigging you up. I was saying, big up to Flawless and Savva. I was saying, TTM saying,
rare. It's very rare. I normally go into streams with a tin hat on, like and that's normally on my own channel, by the way. That's not even on other people.
Anyone else's.
It should have been Football Marmite TV. Like, listen, I'm sure we're going to get into loads of stuff, but I just find this is it's an interesting discussion to have because. Look, first of all, I put a post in yesterday when you were doing the show with Mo. Big up to Mo, and I said it's crazy how many people hear a football opinion and then they categorize you as he's an arsehole. All right, what? Because I didn't like a player or a manager. He's horrible. I hope he dies. Whoa.
Yes, all over a footballing opinion.
It's just football. So listen, looking forward to it and happy to answer whatever you and the people in the chat want to know. All good.
Of course, man. Like I said, this is all about your journey. But before we get into that, big up to everyone that is locked in. Already over 65 of you lot in the building. Let's run up those likes. Hit that like button. Like check 1212. Share across all the socials. That's me, Flawless. At Sarcasm City TV across all socials. And on top of those 2 things, make sure you subscribe to the channel, Sarcasm City TV as well. I'm going to add Savva's link in the title in a second, but make sure you subscribe to Football Heritage TV. I will star some of the best questions, people. I'll star some of the best questions, but this is all about giving Savva his flowers, as a content creator, as he continues his journey, because I know you got many goals and many things you want to do, but there's already goals that and accomplishments you've made. So what we're going to do, Savva, is jump in the time machine and go all the way back to the very, very beginning. So before Football Heritage TV, before you was working with people in the space, before you was on other big channels as well. So what was your start getting into this space? Like, what was the very start? Was you a fan of the space or you didn't know about it? Like, what was it that made you go, all right, let me start my own channel and start content creating?
Yeah, do you know what? It wasn't really a thing for me, YouTube. Look, I was, as we discussed beforehand, I'm not really on socials anymore. But before I was on socials and I live, breathe and eat football, right? I have done for years, to the annoyance of my mum growing up, to the annoyance of my wife to this day, where she's like, what do you want to watch? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm about to watch Paraguay versus Samoa or something. You know what I mean? She's like, so I used like back in it was Twitter, wasn't it? I used Twitter and Facebook back in the day to have football conversations and I really liked it until I didn't, until it became quite vile. And listen, I don't mind admitting, Flawless, like, I'm not an angel. I got involved in that world. This world of, it's no longer football. We're all threatening each other and everyone's rowing and you're like, I had to take a step back and go, whoa, this is mad. So I said, look, there must be a different outlet for me to talk about football. And I actually started a podcast called A Spursy Podcast. Now, for those who aren't Spurs fans, you probably like the word Spursy because it's obviously, it's only Spurs. Don't worry, lads, it's Tottenham. They're not going to win anything. Using the word Spursy as a Spurs fan doesn't go down well with everyone for this. And straight away it was, right, this guy is 50%. 50% will love it. 50% are going to be like, oh, he's a fake fan and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so I did the podcast and it was going out, like the usual. It was going out on, God, if I can remember at the time, SoundCloud, if that was a thing.
I still use SoundCloud and Spotify and iTunes now to put the shows on, which this show will also be on after this as well, people. So what year was this? So you said you was involved on socials, you was on Facebook, you was on Twitter, you was having debates, but then it became more than football. You wanted to get your opinion out there.
Yeah.
So what year was this that you started the Spursy podcast? Do you remember?
Let's go for 2018. I want to say 2018, maybe early 2019. I can't even think of the exact moment, but I just thought, look, let's do this. Let's see how it goes. And it's quite an easy space. It's quite nice because you don't have the comments, right? You've got you do your recording. You're not worried about it. You chuck it out onto SoundCloud. At the time, I had an app, and forgive me, I can't remember, but I had an app where you put it on one and it spread them onto all of the channels for me. And you just got the views coming in, and it was like, okay, how am I judging this? Oh, we had 200 views this week. Oh, we had 300 views, listeners, sorry. And after a while, sort of like,
put you off. Was this audio only? So this wasn't YouTube. Was this just podcast format? It was just audio only.
Yeah.
SoundCloud
format.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair. I'm just asking.
So I was working with all sorts of people like tapping Tobes. So we knew each other. We worked with each other before YouTube. So before he even had a channel, Tobes and I started. He came on my podcast, and
how did you link up with Tobes?
Do I?
Yeah, no. I said, how did you link up with Tobes? How did that come about?
Oh, yeah, great question. I think it was just more through like the kind of Twitter space.
Okay, it's through Twitter.
You start seeing people that are, you know what it's like, right? Twitter is one of those places, or X, whatever it's called now. It's one of those places where if somebody sees you as a creator and they like you, they reach out to you, go, hey, dude, love your stuff, want to work with you, blah, blah, blah. Brilliant. Or you just get the other side of it, which is hate you, you're not a real fan, and you slowly but surely start to learn who you want to work with and who you don't. So so I did the podcast. I did some bits. I had like Anthony Costa, who's a Spurs fan, obviously was in the boy band Blue. He started coming on. My best mate is a TV presenter. And he was actually doing a live radio show at that time with Ricky Sachs, who is the owner of Last Word on Spurs.
Okay.
Massive Spurs channel.
Right.
And before they were YouTube, they were a podcast. And before that, Ricky was on a radio show hosted by my mate. It was called Love. What was it? Love Sport Radio, Love Sport, something like that. Yeah. And so I started phoning into all that sort of stuff, and I thought, hang on, I like this. Let's transfer this to YouTube. And I transferred it to YouTube. And again, probably like how you were, like how anyone was. It was like, I have no idea. Someone's just told me to get StreamYard. How do I connect this to YouTube? How do I? Oh, am I going to make money from day one? Oh, no, I can't make money from day one. I've got to build up a following. Okay.
Following, you got to get monetized.
And you start doing all this. And I think I was quite lucky that, I say lucky, I mean, there's some dark sides to this story as well. I was quite lucky in a sense that when I started the YouTube channel, I think a lot of people knew me from the podcast and also from the days of Twitter.
So the podcast, so you being on social media, being on Twitter, being on Facebook, then doing the podcast, you had received notoriety. Like you said, Tobes had reached out to you. You'd worked with other people, so you had already had some form of name. So when you started your own channel, so did that lead into why you was like, okay, let me start my own channel? Or did someone say to you, start your own channel? You should.
Yeah, I mean, I remember at the time I was speaking a couple of guys now that don't actually do YouTube anymore, but I'm not going to bring them in because they're off the space for a reason. Yeah. And they were just sort of like, look, here's what we do. And they did a show about, the Bundesliga.
Okay.
And really good guys. I went to college with one of them. Another one of them is now a really good friend of mine. And they were like, look, it's easy. Get it on YouTube, man. Like you can start making money. And obviously you go, oh, money, oh my God, I'm going to be rich. And I did it. They helped me set it up. I am useless. Listen, I'm an old school. I want to talk football, right? I'm not good with your graphics. I'm not good with sound, equipment, lighting. That's not me. So I was like, I said to my mate, Gavin, I was like, Gav, what light, what mic? He went, buy this. Brilliant. Okay, cool. We'll whack it all together.
Yeah.
And yeah, just started it from there. And then when I did my first show, it was kind of like, I wonder if is anyone gonna watch? Like, does anyone care? I think I'm brilliant. I think my opinions are amazing. Of course,
everybody does. That's facts. Yes.
Yeah, right.
You're right.
When people go, "Oh, you think your opinion's always right," doesn't
everybody
think
that's why you give the opinion. Yes, you don't give an opinion you think's wrong. What kind of
So just started to, and to be fair, it just started tumbling quite well, actually. And then that's when I first started to really see, and it was still called a Spursy podcast. I didn't change the name. So it wasn't ever Football Heritage TV. And I was getting some good guests. I had loads of ex-players on. I had Darren Anston.
Oh, geez, you had Darren Anston on.
Yeah, Darren Anston, Alan Nilsson, for anyone who remembers Alan Nilsson, who scored the winning goal for Spurs.
That is a throwback, because he's slightly before my time, Alan Nilsson. Yeah. Jeez. Talk about Premier League.
I'm going to go back to Paul Stewart. Anyone in the chat who knows, Paul Stewart scored the goal in the FA Cup final for Spurs in '91 when we won it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I had people like this. Ramon Vega came on.
I remember Ramon Vega, fullback, right? Ramon Vega. Was he a fullback? Centre half. Okay. Stand corrected. Okay.
Yeah, he's now high up in UEFA or FIFA. Anyway, so I had all these people coming on and asking them questions about other players and begging each and every one of them, please, can you get me David Ginola? Please get me David Ginola. I love you, Darren Anderson, but I worship David Ginola. And just started doing more and more and more.
Wait, we're not just going to bypass that, because you deserve your flowers for that. One, having the ability to do that, and two, having the bottle to try and to go and get former players, especially being new in the space. So how did that idea come about, and how did you come about reaching out to the likes of Anderton and Vega, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I think, do you know what? It was basically, at the time, I was on Instagram and X and that. Yeah. And on Twitter or whatever. And I just reached out to loads of ex-pros and was like,
so you just reached out. You were just like, all right, let me message him. What's the worst that can happen type of thing?
Yeah. And listen, let's be fair. I messaged a lot.
A lot?
you get a handful. And then obviously Darren Anderson probably being the biggest name in terms of that era to come on.
Yeah.
Top player, by the way. Really nice guy. And then Ramon Vega he promised me, Ramon did. I really like Ramon Vega. He promised me he'd get me Ginola. Listen, I really enjoyed speaking to them. What I realized very quick was, and I'm sure we'll probably we'll pivot into that much later in this show, but it was really interesting how, in my mind, I said to myself, if I get Darren Anderton, if I get Paul Stewart, if I get these Spurs legends, whatever you want to call them, those videos are going to get hundreds of thousands of. Do you know what I mean? In your mind, you're thinking,
you think they're going to get big numbers.
Players. And actually, they were really good in terms of professionalism, in terms of learning how to speak to people that aren't other YouTube creators. But I always saw that those shows got a following, kind of diehard Spurs fans from back in the day, but the younger audience weren't really.
They weren't engaging in it whatsoever.
Engaged with it because who's Paul Stewart to them? For me, hang on, I'm at Wembley as a 10-year-old watching Spurs win the FA Cup with Lineker, Gaza, Naeem, Paul Stewart, Gary Mabbott. For me, that's a hero. For these people, they're like, he's like, what is he, a number 6? Can he play in the double pivot? What's his XG? Do you know what I mean? Like this, that's what these people. So I stopped doing those. I stopped doing those and then just continued to grow, getting on different creators. It just kind of went from there.
Okay, so what year was it that you said you was around 2018 you first started the podcast and you run Twitter, you run Facebook. When you're getting on Darren Anderton and Stewart and Vega, etc. What year was that? Was that the same year or was that like a year after the 2019?
Yeah, that would have been a year after. So that would have been after I
2019.
made the transition to YouTube, and I'd probably got to about 3,000 or 4,000 people. So, but don't forget, I've built 2 YouTube channels, by the way.
Talk about it, man.
This is my second one. And yeah, listen, everything was going well. So I should probably get to the point now with why a Spursy podcast came to an end. And
yeah, talk about it.
So basically, I was enjoying it, but starting to see the vile side of it, like just the sheer volume of abuse was even to this day. Like obviously, I'm older and wiser now and deal with it better, but the sheer volume and levels of abuse and the kind of velocity of abuse was bad. And I literally woke up one morning and I went to the front door and I see that I had some posts and I had a letter that was unnamed, just my full name, address written out really nice. It was not lovely writing. I remember that. I was thinking, who writes? It was like, what?
Who's writing letters?
Yeah, I'm just like, hang on. I was like, my mum's got nice writing, but this is not my mum. She would put a heart or something on the envelope. Like, anyway, so I opened this letter and there's just this post inside that says, now we know where you live. We're going to kill you and your partner.
What?
And
wait. We just bypassing that. Yeah? You got a death threat.
I got mate. Yeah, I've had a few. So,
but like death threat online is one thing. Like someone saying it in a comment section, someone saying it in social media is one thing, and that's completely out of order. But someone sent a letter to your house.
Someone sent a letter
and said, "Now we know where you live. We are going to kill you and your partner over a footballing opinion."
And at the bottom, it said, "You're not a true Spurs fan. I hope you die." Now, I read this, and at first, I'm like, the usual. Like, first of all, the world has gone mad. Second of all, it's really strange that you want me to die because you don't think I'm a real Spurs fan. Like, that's really weird. Like, if me and you fell out flawless and had the biggest row and had a punch up, I don't think I'd ever want you to die. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it would never be that. It would just be like, I just don't mess with you. Like, we just don't talk. We had a falling out, and that's that. I don't want you to die. What? So I called the police, and obviously I've called the police, right? And like I'm speaking to my wife about it. She wasn't my wife at the time; she was my partner. But I've called the police, and the police have come around. And to be fair, there's not really a lot the police can do. Like it's madness if anyone calls the police. And sorry that this took a bit of a dark turn, but it's part of my story. Part of the story. Yeah, it's fine. That's not on you. That's on them. But go on, carry on.
And they literally said, look, we'll look at it, but look, there's no seal of where it's come from. And like sometimes on the back to letters, it will say it's come from this place, or there was nothing. And let's be fair, I'm not a celebrity. If I'm a celebrity that gets a letter like that, they're going to do forensic analysis. They're going to try.
Yeah, go for the top. Yeah, they're going to go way over. Say that to, like, if it was like a member of the royal family or something like that, or government, they're going above and beyond to find who sent that. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just a little idiot with a couple of thousand people following me on YouTube, right? So anyway, look, they were like, look, just make sure that you've not given your address to anyone. I'm like, listen, finding an address in 2024 or finding an address in the last 10 years is very easy to do, right? It's very easy
if you really want to,
yeah. So I had the conversation with the missus about, look, do I continue to do this? And I'm speaking to my brothers, and I kind of came to the realization I am going to continue to do it because I can't let that detract, right? I can't let like that. And then I started to get a lot of people in my YouTube channel, a lot of trolls. And listen, we all get trolls. I'm not special. Absolutely. We all get trolls. But like to the point where it was just like constant. You're a nonce. You're a pedophile. You're a rapist. You're this. You're that. We're going to get your wife. We know where she works. And I'm just sitting there during shows, and I found myself looking at the chat so much being so distracted by these comments that my actual arguments and debates were so muddled. Like, because I'd say, yeah, but what you don't know is, oh, hang on, who's saying that? What was I saying? And I was all over the place, and it just wasn't the same. And then I went through it. I just kept doing it, and then a few months later, so we're into COVID now. We're into COVID time. A few months later,
2020, yeah,
2020.
2020. Okay, yeah.
We're in 2020, and look, to be fair, YouTube was good for me during COVID because I was bored. I was put on furlough with work. I was bored. Loads of people are watching because they're bored and blah blah blah. And then my mum passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. For true.
It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. But my mum passed away, so I had loads of shows lined up, and I just put out a post saying, "Look, unfortunately, my mum's passed away. I'm not in the right mindset to do this at the moment. I'll be back." And I came back after about 3 or 4 weeks. I came back, and on the very first show, I've got multiple people going, "Gutted, your mum died, and you deserve this. This is karma," and all this. And I just read it, and I cut a stream. I just literally, I went,
of course.
See you later. Boom, done.
Yeah.
And I made that decision that night with my wife that, do you know what? I love talking about football, but this is not worth it. This is not worth it. I wasn't in the best place mentally, and shut down the channel, and shut down my social. At the time, that's when in 2020 is when I shut down all my socials.
Social media as well. Okay.
Yeah. So social media, and I literally lived a life of I watch football. I watch Spurs games. I wasn't watching anybody on YouTube. I wasn't watching any other channels that I was watching. I was literally just watching Spurs and then living my life. And it was peaceful, to be honest. It was peaceful.
Yeah, it was nice and quiet. It was nice and quiet, man.
It was really, really peaceful. And yeah, I had to think for a year and a half or so as to I did miss it. And I started after sort of 6 months to a year, I started guesting on other shows. Like I'd go on with Henry Wright, Henry Wright TV. So Henry Wright, for example, when I had my channel, Henry was somebody who didn't have a channel and came to me and was like, how do I get this off the ground? What do I do? And to Henry, by the time I'd come back, Henry had established himself as a really good Spurs content creator.
He was Henry, because I work with him on Judge's channel. Shout out to Henry, right? Yeah.
Henry. So it was really weird. I came back and lots of people, and that's in that time, Tobes had gone from not having a channel to, oh, hang on, Tobes has got a name for himself now, and blah, blah, blah.
Yes, shout out to Tobes.
So I came back, started working with these people, but without a channel. And then literally my wife said to me, she was like, come on, just get the channel now. You know what to do. You know not what to do from before. Just get the channel. Blah, 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 blah.
So it was your wife who did that. So do you think if your wife hadn't said anything, you would have started back up on the channel during that period of time?
I reckon I probably would have, but I think she could probably see that I was itching to do it. And
she could see that you was missing it.
Yeah. I was
okay.
Listen, I've always been someone to talk football with, and when you're younger, you're single, you're down the pub with your mates, you're talking football all the time, and as people get families and kids, you spend less time with them. So my interaction of talking football was just going like that. There's only so many times my missus wanted to hear about how bad Spurs had defended or how good Harry Kane was. So I decided, right?
Sorry, that's bad for you. You know why? Because it's literally a carbon copy of what Mo was saying yesterday. It's the exact same thing he said about to his wife. She don't want to be hearing about how bad the team is. It's like, yeah, go on, carry on. Sorry, it just cracked me up, just reminiscing remembering what Mo said yesterday.
It's so true. It's so true. And I think like a lot of people don't realize as well that when YouTubers listen, I don't think we're special. We're just people who are stupid enough to put our face to a camera.
No, we ain't gonna do that. No. We are special. And you know why you are special, Savva? Because not everyone can do what you do to the level you do it. Because if everybody could, guess what? Everybody would. You see the people, all the trolls that we spoken about, the Egypt sending death threats, even the supporters as well, as your supporters will tell you, because I know this for a fact. And I'm telling you this because even though we're cool, I'm a fan of you, Savva. Not everyone can do what you do to a high level. Trust me, consistently. This is not easy to do. Not everyone can turn the camera on, not only give their footballing opinion, but make it engaging and make it entertaining that people stay. You know how many people do this that fail? How many people that do this that are still failing now? People that can't do it. I'm telling you right now, Savva, not easy. 100%. You definitely, that's why you here. That's why I'm like, I gotta hear about Savva's journey. I said this in the intro and I say this now. One of the best out here doing it, period. For real. So that's my opinion on it.
No, I hear you. I mean, look, when I say we're not special, what I mean is, you know, to start this, it's not like anyone went to a college or got a degree in anything. It was literally, you know what? I've got things to say about football. I think people might like it. I think people might enjoy it. I think people might join in, and even if they disagree, and we go from there. But you know what we do, I don't think people understand sometimes that, like, I don't know about you, right? I've got a full-time job as well, right?
Okay.
I've got a full-time job. When I stream, that's me making a conscious decision that I've done my work, been to the gym, I've whatever. This is time I'm taking away from me and my wife. Right.
Okay.
And she understands that, right? Do you know what I mean? She understands that. I don't think a lot of people appreciate. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about a lot of YouTubers when they give up their time. And I'm sure we'll get back on track in a second. But when we give up our time, I think first of all, people think that we earn absolutely thousands of
millions
of pounds, and it's mad. It's like, oh, you're doing it for the money, and I was like, honestly, the grief and abuse I get, it is really not worth what I get paid at the end of the month. But secondly, I don't think they quite realize the time and prep that goes into it. Like for these shows, you've had to get your thumbnails together. You've had to go out there and beg, borrow, and plead for people's time to guest, right? You've had to promote the show. You've had to think of the questions. Then we're going to give up time to go live. Then you're going to post it. You know, that's one person. You're doing a series of these shows. So now imagine when people I do a live watch along for every game. Yeah, that's 4 hours of my time. Yeah. That's 4 hours just doing it live, plus the build up, plus the getting my thumbnail guy to get my thumbnail right. And you have to pay, like I pay my thumbnail guy. So when people are talking about being paid by YouTube, I pay my thumbnail guy. Yeah,
you have to pay your thumbnail guy. That's one of the expenses. I pay my guy for the for the thumbnail for the template. Be like, all right, here's I need such and such. Send me the and he'd be like, all right, cool.
You pay for StreamYard, you pay for your camera, you pay for your light. Those things don't last forever, right? You have to replace them. You're paying for X, Y, Z, right? And I don't think a lot of people, first of all, I don't think they appreciate that. It's easy, right? What we've done is we've given a platform to people, or YouTube have given the platform. We facilitated that platform to say, right, guys, girls, we are going to have a conversation about football. There's a comment section. You don't have to pay a penny. Join in, and people take that, and their first thought, not all people. Some people's first thought is, I hate that person. How can I abuse them? How can I troll them? And I've never in my brain wrapped my head around that. I've never, if I don't like you, like I do Flawless, I watch your shows. Yeah. If I don't like you as a content creator, Flawless, you know what?
I'm not gonna watch.
I don't subscribe. I don't have a bell set for your notification. Funnily enough, I don't watch you. But it's the number of people that like, they'll go, oh, you're the worst content creator. But you're in all my shows.
You know why that is, Savva? Because it ties back into what I'm saying. They are fans. You just mentioned it there. I wouldn't do it. I would never sit down and take time out of my day, because time's the only thing we don't get back to watch someone I don't like. You know what it means when they're saying this? They are fans. They just don't want to admit it. So rather than say, hey, Savva, I think you're excellent at what you do. I think you're quality, but I disagree with this. Let me abuse you, because it's a lot of it as well as attention. So it's like, if I big him up, you know what I'm saying? If I big him up, everyone else is bigging him up. So he might be less likely to see that. He'll just say, oh, thank you, man. Love to everyone showing support. But if I abuse him or say something wild, then I'm going to get a response. Because you mentioned it there in your chat. Every single time. How do you know where I am all the time? That's because you're a fan. Haters are your biggest fans. There's a thin line between love and hate. How did you know? You don't rate me. How did you know I was live?
To go live 2 hours ago. How did you know I was going to be live? Like, but but do you know the thing is with me, and I think we'll probably get there a bit later, is, and please remember this for later, I want to talk about my style of YouTube. I don't think is the same as others. My style, I think, is very different. I'm very interactive. And
talk about
being interactive is, I think, my biggest strength and also my biggest weakness. And what's the chart they do? Is it a SWOT analysis? Is it strength, weakness?
I know what you're talking about.
Strength, weakness, something, and threats. And if I was to do that chart, my interaction would be in all of those boxes. That for me is my strength, my weakness. It's my threat. And, you know,
strength, weakness. I just googled it. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Oh yes, opportunity. Yeah, and this is the thing, right? Is that I'm one of these people where I appreciate if I get a super chat, I'm blown away by it. I'm like, I'm going to shower that person with time. I go onto channels, right? This is relevant. I go onto channels where they just rush through them. So-and-so says da-da-da-da. So-and-so. And it's like, whoa, hang on. Whoa. Somebody's put their hard-earned money towards me. I'm going to read out their comment and I'm going to think. Now, that's what a lot of YouTubers do. They just read out super chats. I try to interact and read out as many comments as possible and still get shit for it. Still,
Again, the reason why you are going to get shit for it is because people just want, it don't matter what you do. Don't matter what you do. Savva, you could do a show where you're giving away money. You could start and say, this is the Savva giving away money live stream. And someone going to be in the comments complain, oh, who does he think he is giving away money? He's just showing off that he's rich.
Yeah.
That's what it would be.
Why is he only giving everyone $1,000? It should be $5,000. Yeah.
That's it. And it's like, oh, if you give everyone $5,000, why is it not 10? If it's not 10, it's not that's legit. You can't please some people. You can't. And you're right in regards to your style, which I do rate highly as well, and super chats. And speaking of that, big up to Tyler Jones, who just dropped this very generous super chat. Appreciate it.
30 seconds while you do this. Sorry, my front door's just gone.
Do your thing. No problem, man. No problem. Shouts to Savva, man. But Tyler Jones, big up for the super chat. Much appreciated. Love to you for this very generous super chat. If you got a question, let me know, because you didn't drop a question. You just dropped this super chat, and I appreciate it. So thank you very much. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Way over 100 people in here. We're at 79 likes. We are doing well with the like ratio, but we could do a little bit better, people. So like check 1212. Like check 1212. Let's get up to 100 likes. Make sure you subscribe to Football Heritage TV. The link is in the title, people. The link's in the title. I thought I didn't, but I did it yesterday, so I was more prepared than I expected to be. Go run up the subscribers on Savva's channel, Football Heritage TV. Like I said, hit the like button here. Share across all of the socials as well. That's me flawless at Sarcasm City TV on Twitter, Instagram. And on top of those two things, subscribe to the channel. This is Sarcasm City TV special second wave. Savva is back in the building as well. So yeah, where was we at, Savva?
Yeah, I think before I went off on a bit of a tangent, I was talking about
cool, man. That's what it's about.
Coming back.
Yeah, coming back to YouTube because you was missing it. Like you said, there was only a certain amount of time that only a certain amount of times that your wife wants to hear about Spurs and how good Harry Kane is and how bad Spurs are and what's going on. So then you mentioned Tobes, who has now become big in the space once in the period you've been gone. Same with Henry Wright as well. So you decided to come back and start your own channel. So what was that like?
Yeah. And to be fair, a shout out as well, because you know, Henry did a show every Sunday night called the Spurs Corner. Is it the Spurs Corner? Yeah, I think it was the Spurs Corner. And he did that with, you know, Tottenham away and a few other channels, and it was really good. And he invited me onto it, even though I didn't have my channel. And off the back of that, a few people in the chat had said, "Oh, Savva should get a channel again," and blah blah blah. So I started a channel called Savva Talk Spurs. So that is this channel, right? It's just had a name change a couple of times. So just Savva Talk Spurs. And and it just, to be fair, I was very lucky. Some people, I was lucky because I was known from a year and a half before from my appearances on Henry's show. Some people start this, and look, we know you have to get to 1,000, right? You have to get to 1,000 subscribers before you can even start thinking about getting 10p from YouTube. But I was quite lucky. I got to a 1K really quickly through the help of people like Henry, who gets a lot of shit lately, by the way. But listen, he's you know, he really helped me then. You know, people like Tottenham Away, Stella at Tottenham Away, you know, Will at Tottenham Away, these people. And then I started doing bits with more bits with Tobes. Did lots with tapping Tobes and people like that. And then started to meet all of these other Spurs YouTube channels. And Savva Talk Spurs was good and it was growing. And then I realized I had these delusions in my head at that time where I wasn't enjoying work. And, you know, I'd started to make money. I'd started to see money coming in. You know, when you first get your first bit of payment,
facts. Facts. You think you've made it 100%. That first deposit hits different. I fully know what you're talking about. Yes.
By the way, sorry, just quickly, somebody said, why doesn't he mention Rants? He introduced him to the scene. Rants hasn't. This is pre-Rants. By the way, this is.
We go get to the story, man. It's the whole backstory. It's the whole story.
I didn't know Rants
from the beginning. Yeah, this is from the very, very beginning all the way through till now. We don't get that. We go get that. Big up to Tito.
No Rants at this time. So I'll get to Rants. Don't worry. He's a big part of it and a top guy. Like, you know, you get that first payment. I think like my first payment that came in from YouTube, I think at the time, I don't know if it's changed now. I think it had to be over £60 of revenue in the month.
Still the same. Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah, that's the threshold.
Money, right?
Yeah, that's the threshold.
So I remember the first month where I could make money, right? I think I made like 54 quid. So I was waiting for it. And then I remember turning around to Henry and going, when are they going to pay me my 54 quid? And he's like, no, you don't get paid unless you get to
you got to hit the 60 pound is the threshold. For them to release the money.
Right. So at that point, I'm like, okay, cool. So the next month, I think I made like 90 quid or something. And that 90 quid arrives and you go, wow, this is, I'm making money to talk football. That's what people think. And that's what I thought. They don't realize everything else that goes in behind it. But at the time I started doing it, and don't lie to me, Flores, you've done this. Every one of us in YouTube have done this.
Talk to me.
Right. Here's how many views I had for the month, and here's how much money I made, and here's how many subs I've got. If that number goes to this number, if this number goes to this number, then this price here goes to this price here, right? And you start working out how you're going to dominate the world, right? How you're going to quit your job, right? You start doing all that.
Spot on, because before this came full time for me, that's what I was on. Savva, you are 110% right. To everyone watching, that's it. Because you don't know how it works, because there's not a number of views that match the pound and how much you make. So you try and figure it out loosely and go, well, if I do this, then you do, you right, and how you are going to dominate the world. You are hundreds. Pinky, and for those that remember the cartoon, is Pinky and the Brain settings. What are you planning to do tonight, Brain? The same thing we do every night, planning to take over the world. That's it. So true. Mike's is in the chat, who's also a content creator. So true. He's on the same thing. Exactly that. Yeah. For real.
It was just like, and then I got to the stage where I was building up. I was like 3,000, 4,000, and I thought to myself, you know what? I was actually it was my 40th, and 3 or 4 of us, we had our 40ths at the same time. We went to Marbella. Never again. I was too old, way too old for that. And we're sitting around the pool one day, and my mate is as South London as you get. He's really high up in his company, actually, but it's really South London as you get. You know, wears the flat caps, wants to go to all the boxing. He's a West Ham fan, all this. He went, you know what you're doing wrong? And I'm like, go on, you're going to tell me. He went, Savva Talks Football. It should be Savva Talks Football, not Savva Talks Spurs. Okay. And I said to him, I was like, look, the problem with that is, I don't know if there's enough viewers there that will see me as an all-rounder. And we'll talk about this later. But, there's a huge difference between doing something like what Mo does, who you had last night, versus someone like me, who is a Tottenham Hotspur content creator. And he said, look, he said, you don't stop talking about football. He said, every footballer across the world, you watch any game you can, you watch this league, that league, you could talk about it. And I said to him, my issue in this isn't my ability to get on screen and talk La Liga, to talk Arsenal, United. I just didn't think, for me, there was enough merit in it, and I wondered whether or not I was I watering down my Spurs product and my Spurs content to try and be an all-rounder. But I decided to give it a go.
Okay.
And
all right.
And I did. I changed it to Savva Talks Football. Nothing changed. The logo didn't change. It literally just changed to
just changed the name. And what year was that you was on holiday that your friend said that to you?
So that was 22.
22. Okay. First. All right.
That was 2022 because I got married the month before we went to Marbella. Okay. Yeah, it was honeymoon, back home, Marbella. That was a good couple of months. So yeah, it was 2022. It was October 2022. And my mate actually sent me a picture today of, look, here's where we were 2 years ago, and it was around dinner in Marbella. So I changed it, and to be fair, what that did was it opened me up to getting a lot more messages from people and to start to work with people that weren't in the Spurs stratosphere.
Got you.
You know, whether that be how me and you talk, we wouldn't have talked. If I was just a purely Spurs, I would never, we met.
No, 100%. Because we met on a panel.
I'll get onto Rants in a minute, but Lee Gunner, who I knew he was working with Henry Wright at the time, I started talking to him. I haven't done too much with Lee, but done a little bit of work with Lee. Started getting invited onto the football terrace with Terry. So big up to Terry Flewers.
Big up to Terry.
He's a big part of this journey as well. For Terry Flewers. And then I get a phone call one day from Tobes at about 9 p.m. at night. I'd literally just finished a 2-hour Spurs stream. I was knackered. I remember it. And I got 3 missed calls from Tobes. So I fucking was. Why's Tobes ringing me 3 times? I can't do the Big Six tonight. Do you want to jump on?
Oh,
and I'm like, as a content creator, you go, okay, well, this is, So obviously he went down the wife. Oh my God, I promised we'd do this. I can't, I've got to go on this. Look at this show and look how many people. Anyway, so I went on the show and overnight I got over 1,250 subs, like from being on the Big Six. And again, big up to Turkish. He was always very good to me.
Yeah, big up Turkish, big up Toes, big up the whole Big Six, familiar, 100%.
All the Big Six were great. And I think that me and somebody mentioned it earlier, Grizz and I actually had a really big debate in that show. I don't know if you have seen
I did, but the chat had said it about you versus Grizz talking about Trent. Yeah, Matthew said it here in the chat, Savva versus Grizz.
Yeah. And so this is now, we're now in 2023, by the way. So me and Grizz are having this massive ding dong debate about Trent Alexander-Arnold. And let's be fair, I'm a Spurs fan. I'm not that deeply entrenched into Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I like to think I know my onions and we'll give it a go.
Of course. Yeah.
After that, listen, Turkish at the end of the show said, listen, I don't know how many, there was like 4,500, 5,000 watching at the time. I can't remember the numbers. So I go over and subscribe to Savva. And I remember just sitting there looking at my YouTube studio on my phone, refreshing it. And it was like, what? Oh my God, I'm going to be the Big Six. I want to be, I'm going to be. Anyway, so I did all this. And at that time, I'd reached out to Rants on.
Before you go on reaching out to Rants, before the Big Six, like after you've done the Big Six, anytime before that, was there a time where you was like, I'm getting where you noticed where, my notoriety is going up? Like, did you get recognized by someone? Did someone reach out to you that you was unexpected? Like, where you was like, I can make something of myself in this space. Is there any, or was that from the start, or did that come during the journey?
Yeah, I mean, look, I first of all, let me caveat this by saying I never knew if I wanted to do this full time or not. And by the way, I don't do it full time, and I don't want to do it full time. So I'll caveat that for our further conversation. Okay. But I was at the point where, I'd be in a pub and someone would go, "Oh, are you on YouTube?" And I'd always have to think, "Oh God, who are you first?" Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was, oh shit, is this do I admit that? Yeah, I'm a Tottenham YouTuber, or are you a crazed Arsenal fan with a knife in your pocket? I don't know. Like, or sorry, more to the point, are you a crazed Spurs fan that hates my opinion on Antonio Conte or something? And so it was at that point where you start to realize, actually, people do watch. And yeah, I don't know the word notoriety, but then I remember myself and my wife walked to the train station one morning for work, right? It was really embarrassing. We were walking to the train station. We're just getting into the train station. And some guy says, sorry, are you Savva? And I said, yeah. And he went, oh my God, massive fan. I watch all your shows. And I'm like, and there's a few people standing around me looking as if to go, who is that guy? And you know, when you're like, I don't know, I just waffle about football on YouTube. And it was just a bit, it was really weird. Anyway, gave that person my number. We speak still today.
Love that. That's notoriety right there. That is notoriety. Getting recognized out in public. That goes to show, one, the people like it. Like you said, he's a big fan, and two, you're doing something right, and the growth continues. But that's why I thought I'd ask that question. Let me hear about this. Go on.
For months afterwards, wherever we went with my wife, it was whenever we saw friends or family, she's like, oh. And she doesn't call me Savva, right? My name is Richard. My name is Richard, right? And no one calls me Richard. She goes, Richard got noticed at a train station. He's a big time YouTuber. You know, and you're like, oh, shut up. Like, just, Richard's going to make millions and I can give up work. And you're like, hang on, love. How much money do you think I have? Anyway.
You can make millions.
Yeah. So anyway, that was good. And yeah, so basically, I'm at that stage now where I'm starting to do, whenever Tobes couldn't make it, I jump on the Big Six. Only a few times.
But even that call, that must have been crazy. Because obviously we all know, and like I said, shout out to everyone involved in Big Six, how huge that show is, and how that's like in the space is the #1 show, like, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So not only being asked to go on there once, but go on there repeatedly, you would have seen the numbers and reap the rewards. Did that just back up where you was like, all right, I can continue to do well in this space type of thing?
Yeah, look, I think at that time it was a whole new ball game for me. I'd been on panel shows, normally with a lot of Spurs content creators. But the Big Six, and why I rate the Big Six so much is, first of all, I think everyone on it is good in their own way. They're all very different. You know, like Matisse is so different to Saeed. Saeed's very different to Grizz and yada. But they've got a really good chemistry. And two things stood out to me from being on that show. One was the comment section is like,
the comment section is crazy.
You can't read a thing. You like, when I'm doing my own shows, I can read every comment. I'm not that popular. I can read all the comments. When you see a Mark Goldbridge, you know, when you see when you see somebody like Expressions, when you see the Big Six, the comments, people are going, why aren't you reading my comment? It's like, bup. And from that, it was just seeing the number of super chats that came. It was like,
people support heavily.
These guys must be wealthy. Like, it was just like £10.
You sound about them how your wife sounds about you, and she was like, yeah, he's gonna make millions. He got recognized after trains at the train station, etc.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. But my overriding, forget all the jokes about the money and the chat. What I loved about the Big Six, I don't watch it as regularly now. You know, I'm busy doing my own thing, but those guys, I don't like panel shows. I'm sure we can get into this later. I don't like panel shows, right? I don't like panel shows where you've got fans from different clubs. I find it gets all very childish. I find that it gets so biased that nobody's actually having a reasoned conversation. So the example I'll give you is, if I have a conversation with a Arsenal fan, or a Chelsea fan, and I say, listen, that happened or this happened. I don't. What do you know? You're Spurs. You don't win anything. It's like, but that's not what we're.
That's not the point. That's not what we're here for.
It's childish. Anyway, Big Six wasn't that. They were actually, as much as they ripped each other, they were having proper, in-depth football conversation, and I really, really enjoyed it. And then any sort of panel channel I went on after that, I couldn't find that vibe again.
Okay.
And I'm sure we'll get onto that on my journey in a minute with other creators who I rate massively, but it's just not for me. But anyway, off the back of that, I'd messaged a few creators, bigger creators, that I thought, listen, I want to start.
I want to work with them. Okay.
Yeah. And Rants, to be fair, Rants was brilliant.
So you reached out to Rants because you was like, you had been watching him and it was like, so you was like, okay, let me reach out to some people, and Rants was one of the people who reached out to. All right, first.
And do you know what? Do you know what I love about Rants? I do. I've got so much time for Rants. Is when I messaged him and I was like, listen, I'd really like you to come on and guest on my show. He came back and he said, look, I can't really do the coming on your show. I don't have the time, but I can do you one better, he said. I think this is kind of word for word. He's like, I can do you one better. How would you like a weekly slot on my show? And I was
Rants
like,
is a real one. Rants is an absolute real one.
Wow. Like I said to him, you do know I've only got like, at the time, I was like, I've only got like 5,000 subscribers. I'm nobody. I don't think I can bring a lot to it. He was, come on, chat. We'll do this once a week. And yeah, he was great. He was always good. We had real football discussions. I liked his Rants' chat as well. Yeah. You know, sometimes you go on to shows and
the chat don't get you.
And the chat is either so abusive or it's just so pathetic. And I don't like that. Rants' chat was brilliant. They welcomed me in. We had proper football conversations. And I've got nothing bad to say about Rants at all. He really helped me. Helped me get some subscribers. I've got nothing bad to say. Only good things to say about Rants. Only good things.
That's it. Yeah, same. Like, he's a real one. I'm someone who's been fortunate enough to work with Rants, still work with Rants to this day, and he's helped me massively. You know what I'm saying? He helped my channel, helped me as an individual content creator. That's why when I did the special with him, it was great chopping up with him. And yeah, Rants has put and helped so many people. The amount of time his name pops up when I'm doing these specials previously, and now you're mentioning him here on this one, and people have bigged him up. Like, I remember Grizz mentioning him, obviously Matisse, Saeed, etc. So yeah, shout out to Rants every single time. Yeah, true legend of the space, man. True legend of the space.
He's brilliant. Listen, he's got, and what I love, you know, like, obviously his brother's in the space as well, and you couldn't find two different content creators. Like, and I love that, right? I love. Listen, I think Expressions is hilarious. I do.
Yeah, he's absolutely, man. Absolutely, it's hilarious.
I genuinely don't think he'd ever allow me to work with him, and I don't think we'd even work together because I don't understand a lot of what he says. I'm not his target audience, let's say, but listen, what he's done is brilliant, and then. For what Rants has done, he's just brilliant in terms of, you know, what's Rants at now? Over 100K? 100K?
Yeah, he hit over 100K. Yeah, last month? Last month he did. Yeah, over 100K. Yeah, he did. He
knows his onions. This is the thing for me. I want to work with creators that know their football. I'm not bothered about all this. Oh, you're Spurs, you're Arsenal, you're this. We beat you 3-2. This man. I'm 41 for this. I don't care about all that. I don't care about mud. Oh, you're in the mud. You're in the mud. Shut up. Grow up. I want to talk about football. I want to talk about football. If I give an opinion and then that opinion doesn't turn out to be right, you know what?
Debate the opinion, though. Debate the opinion.
Wrong,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
All these kids now with, oh, you're in the mud. You're in the mud. And that, anyway, Rants' channel wasn't that. Rants' channel was brilliant for me. And yeah, I've got a lot of time for Rants. So Rants really did help me massively on my journey. Gave me some good advice when I needed it. So did his producer as well.
Oh, yeah, shout out to Dave.
Yeah.
Dave. Yeah, shout out to Dave.
He helped me do a few things more on the technical side because I think he realized very quick that I was useless at that. But they were always very good to me, those two. They were always very good to me, and I really enjoyed the shows.
Yeah, I love that. So look at that. So you've not only, like, your channel's growing. You said you worked with Henry Wright, you worked with Tobes, they're doing well in the space. You then get the call from the Big Six. You've been on there a few times. You then managed to work, and then you're working with Rants as well. Is there anyone else you reached out to, bigger content creators you were fans of, who you was working with also?
I was going to say that there was many that I wanted to work with that don't even give you the time of day, but that's fine. You know, you get it. They must get asked all the time. Who do I work with? I mean, look, I work with LB. I work with Rants. I work with Lee Gunner. I mean, Saeed had me on his show. Saeed, welcome to the show. Matisse did.
How did that come about? The link up with Saeed? How did that one come about? If you remember.
Yeah, I think that was from I want to say that was from the Big Six. I think that he asked me after that. I can't really remember, but again, I really liked doing a Saeed show. But it's the same with anything. The bigger these things get, and look, what a great year he's had in terms of the YouTube.
Oh, so, Saeed, he's another one. Just hit 100K as well, man. He's doing big things.
But again, his comment section, again, this is no fault of his own. The bigger it got, the more kind of,
crazy it got in it. It became even a crazier space. I follow that. That's why when I go on other shows, I don't have comment sections open. I don't have that.
It's something I've never learned. People have told me to do that forever, and I never.
Yeah. Trust me, it's not because you could get. I know what I'm like. Like I'll be saying something, and then I could get distracted, or when you say something, and then someone goes, "Well, you said this." No, that's not what I said. You just didn't listen at all. I just explained what I meant when I said this. So you mentioned it there. So Saeed, you worked with, Matisse, you worked with, which I'm also guessing is through the Big Six. So then you just carried on, obviously, like I said, working on your own channel, working there, and then what happened from then on? Because you said then came to a close, and those shows you stopped going on, and then what happened from then?
Yeah, well, I got to the stage where I was doing too much. Like at about this time, I started to work with Rants. I actually was made redundant from my job, and my industry took a hammering. So I thought to myself, look, all the while I'm looking for work, do you know what? I'm going to go full time, and I was stupid. It was a very rash. Everybody, I'm going full time. I'm going to do 3 or 4, shows a day of my own on my own channel. Spurs shows about Man United, shows about, I work with the boys at Never a Foul. They'd come on with me. I'd go on with them.
Okay.
And listen, and by the way, I've got nothing bad to say about any of these creators I work with. I haven't. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. That's life. But, I was doing things with like, with Kaz and Daps from Never a Foul.
Yeah. Shout out Never a Foul gang. Yeah. They're my guys.
Those guys. Mo, I was doing them for an hour, then my show for an hour. Then I was going on with Saeed. Then I was doing a Spurs show of my own. And then I was doing this panel show. And I got to the stage where I was YouTubing 8-9 hours a day. And it made me realize, what I loved about talking about football was I jumped on, couple of hours about football, I go back to my normal life.
Became life.
Hats off to the league gunners. Hats off to the Rantses. Hats off to the Gold. All these people that do this for a living. Bear in mind, as I said, I've got a job. This isn't my job. This is a side thing for me. Fair play to those people, because finding content, finding guests, doing that all day, every day. Listen, I got burnt out. I'll be honest. I had 3 months where I was getting, my wife was coming in from work, and I'm like that. I'm like, my eyes are just like, good job. I had laser eye surgery, so they're quite good, but they were tired and they were aching. And I just got to the point where it was like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. Yeah, I'm getting subscribers, but I can't do it. And then the only thing I was, really doing at that point was the Football Terrace,
right?
And obviously Terry and I had a checkered history of me being on his show, where we had some big fallings out and we had some big fallings in. But and I know people will constantly try, and I'll put it straight right here, right? Because I know a lot of people are constantly asking, what happened with Terry? I've got nothing against Terry. Yeah, I've got nothing against it. The format he's got, does it work for me? No. I've learned that over time. It doesn't work for me. The format he's got, what he's created is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's bad.
It's just not for you, which is okay.
I get that. I think at the end it was kind of like, look, we're not getting on here, are we? Not as people, but as creators, we're not getting on. His channel, the chat section despised me is the politest word I could. And we just went our separate ways. I've spoken to Terry since. I've got his number. We've talked. I've got nothing.
So you're cool. Him. So did you two have had not bust up, but you had fallings out and debates on the channel over footballing things, but then you're still cool now? Is that what? Because I don't know the full backstory of what happened. So take us back to the beginning. How did you link up with Terry in the Terrace? How did it start? Like, what was the first thing?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. I don't even remember, to be honest. I think, did I reach out to him maybe on Instagram or something at the time?
No.
I don't know. I really
Okay,
don't know.
so you all right.
But yeah, he invited me on, and I go on first of all would be like one of the guests after a game where you've got 10 creators after Spurs have played.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
Yeah.
That's not for me. I like it when I've got a one-on-one conversation, or there's three of us and we're all contributing. I don't like hey, you talk and then you're not going to talk again for half an hour, because now I'm just sitting there going, what's going on? So I didn't really like that. But then when Terry asked me to do the straight fact show with him, I liked the idea.
Well, that's what it was. So you was on there, you'd reached out to him.
Yeah.
You had went on after games, the match reactions, and then he reached out to you to then do straight facts. And you was like, okay, let's do straight facts. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I like having one-on-one chats with Terry. I think Terry's a very, very knowledgeable football fan.
Oh yeah, extremely knowledgeable football fan.
He's got a lot of knowledge in that bank. I just didn't like his chat. Was just, for me, again, it was but it was just the hate, the vile, and I got to a stage where it was like, is it worth me doing this? I'm not enjoying it. And I told him I wasn't enjoying it. He was cool with it. Listen, I think everyone feels like there was a falling out. There wasn't. It just didn't work creatively.
It just didn't work for you. So he was like, you said to him, it's not working. He said, all right, cool. That makes sense.
A mutual feeling.
I think you knew what it was.
Him, I think he was like, cool, I get it. And it's not really. Yeah. So I think everyone was, again, for months after that, trying to find, oh my God, what happened between Savva? Nothing happened. I wish nothing but the best for Terry. His channel he's built is an absolute beast. Yes. Is it for me? No, I think the audience that he gets is very much more on that kind of what I was saying before, where it's you can't say anything. Like if I said, listen, I think Chelsea are a decent team. Oh, you love Chelsea more than Spurs. Yeah, it's that sort of mentality.
Over the top. People being over the top, over exaggerating. Yeah.
But I've got nothing bad to say about Terry or his channel personally. These things happen. And I'd like to think by the time I come off this, I haven't said a bad thing about anybody's channel. Everyone's finding their own journey. What works for you isn't going to work for me. What works for me is not going to work for who XYZ. So it is what it is. And then anyway, I literally got to the stage last year where I don't know, I wasn't in a good place. And I don't want to sit here and there wasn't a thing. There wasn't a life event. I was just a bit lost, really. I was streaming all the time. I wasn't enjoying work. I was drinking too much. I was eating badly. You know, like I was just a bit like, oh.
Yeah, you said you burnt out. You said you was burnt out, not enjoying it. And that's self-assessment. That's being self-aware, where you're like, okay, I need to stop this and cut off doing 8, 9 hours, 10 hours of shows all day, every day. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I just got to the stage where I was just like, you know, all the abuse, and I was getting threats online, and I just kind of, I just said, look, I don't need this.
Yeah,
I don't need it. I don't want it. Really, I think what I was saying was I need some time off. But I went all dramatic with it, like, oh my God, it's the end. Football Heritage TV's closing down. It's the end. You're never going to see me again. Blah 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 blah. And listen, when I had the downtime, I had 3 months off, and it was lovely. It was really nice. I didn't watch any YouTube. I didn't watch. I didn't.
And what time period was this where you had stopped and cut down? Was this 2023?
No, we're in 2024 now. We're in 2024.
It was 2024 that you did this. Okay.
Yeah, so this would have been at the back end of last season.
Okay.
And some of the summer. And you know what? I went away and I got myself fit. I lost a lot of weight. I stopped drinking. I'm now teetotal. I was eating better, and I said, you know what? I miss the streaming, but if I go back, it's got to be different. If I go back, it's got to be different. I can't be doing the panel shows. I just don't. I don't find them. Listen, I love a football debate, but they weren't football debates on most of these shows. It wasn't football debates. It was just silliness. So I didn't do that. I cut down what I did drastically. Like if people see now my content, I do a watch along. Yeah. I have some premiered videos that I do throughout the week, and I really like them. I really like them, working with some cool, calm, collected people. I hardly jump onto anybody's channel anymore because it starts to consume. And I just do my own thing now, and I'm so much happier with it. Apart from people that I'm sure we'll talk about this, people that want to take the dig, when they're starting their channel to try and get themselves some flowers, as they say in the game, and build their channel.
Facts. So, but I said this to you beforehand. No, the reason why people are taking shots because they know if they mention Savva, people are much more likely to click on the video and click on the live or click on the pre-recorded video, whichever it is. It's like Savva's a big Spurs content creator, a lot of people's favorite Spurs content creator, or in people's top 3, top 4, Mount Rushmore, whatever you want to say, or just in general. So it's like they're gonna do that because you do big numbers, and that's what that is. That's why people are going to. That's what it is. That's why people are. That's why people are going to do those things and take their shots. 100%.
Absolutely, man. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think one thing. I mean, Perchy's in the chat, and I've got to mention Perchy, because Perchy joined me for a time. And to be fair to him, and I do feel bad. And me and him have talked. I like to think Perchy and I are good friends. We talk every day, so hopefully we are. But he'll tell you in the chat if we're not. But Perchy kind of joined forces with me at a time when I felt quite lost on the channel. Before I had the downtime, I was like, I don't know, something's not working for me. I'm not enjoying it. Blah blah blah. Maybe if there's 2 of us doing it. And Perchy jumped on and was brilliant. Really committed, really good guy. People didn't like us working together because they said that our opinions were too similar. Which
hey man.
Whatever it will be. Yeah. But even then, even since then, you know, Perchy's stepped away from YouTube, and listen, Perchy, hopefully I'm not speaking out of place. He's in the chat. When I speak to Perchy now, he's so much happier with life. Like he's, I think he realized that this life wasn't for him. I realized that the kind of full-time life of it isn't for me. But we did some great stuff together, and people have mentioned in the chat about the charity streams. It's funny for all the abuse I get, for all the hate I get, and for the number of people that talk badly about me. I do four 24-hour live charity streams a year.
Yeah, love that.
And I think last year we earned something like 18.5 grand across the 4. And do you know what? They kill me. They are that 24 hours is like anyway. So. Yeah, listen, there's been great times doing it. There hasn't been, but I'm happy now. I'm happy with where I'm at now. I'm comfortable with who I am as a creator. And no matter how many people that tell me, oh, you only have this opinion for YouTube. And I'm like, you don't know me.
They're ridiculous.
You don't know me. Oh, you only don't rate Ange because of YouTube and it makes you money and views. Oh, how little you know. like if I wanted views, I would be saying Ange Postecoglou is the greatest manager I've ever seen.
Positivity.
Spurs are going to win the title.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. And you know why? I'm not trying to be edgy. I'm not trying to be controversial. People in the chat that know me, like Strasbourg Steve's in the chat. Rams is in the chat. Perchy, they'll tell you when they speak to me offline. That's how I am.
But yeah, that's how you feel. 100%. Like you just don't rate Ange. Like that's it. You just don't rate Ange. Why is that so crazy? Why is that? I don't get why that's such a mad opinion, especially when you back it up as well. It's not like you just say, you have to give multiple opinions and why, and eye test, and also stats you mentioned as well. I don't rate Ange because of this, and this, and then look at the results.
And again, that probably comes back to me being a creator, right? Flores, I'm aware you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you anyway. My whole philosophy is about being real. Yeah, listen. We all speak to loads and loads of YouTubers offline. We all know what their true opinion is versus the opinion that they put out, and that's fine. I'm cool with it. You play your game. I'm not going to mention any names, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do your thing. You make your money. If this is your job, you do what you need to do. This isn't for me about the making of the money. This isn't going to be a full-time job for me. I will say what I believe, and I will back it up with evidence. I will back it up with facts. Mm-hmm. The problem is you get a lot of people that they don't want facts. They don't want evidence because it goes against the grain. And when I went on to Saeed's channel, it's not about Saeed. When I went on to panel shows like Saeed, the Big Six, Football Terrace, when I started doing Never a Foul, when I started doing things like that, what I get a lot of is Spurs fans going, this guy doesn't represent us. He's not a real Spurs fan. He just says what he thinks to make other creators happy. First of all, I thought, these creators know when they get me on a show, they're not going to get someone who sits in the corner and goes, yes, no. They know they're getting a debate.
Yeah, 100%. That's Savva. That's exactly what you know. What Savva's going to give you. Facts.
Right. So that wasn't true. And second of all, this whole notion that I need to play up to other creators and I need to put Spurs down to be. Listen, I don't want to hear that Spurs are good. I don't want to hear that Spurs are going to win. Show me. That's me in all my aspects of life. Show me. Show me the evidence. People can go on shows and like there's a content creator right now. I'm not going to give names. There's a I don't think many people will know him. There's a content creator right now keeps making videos about fans like me and Stell from Tottenham away without saying our name. They thrive. They've built their massive channel. I'm not massive. I'm nearly at 14K. It's not bad, but I'm not massive. They've built their massive channels on negativity. Isn't it a shame that they don't support their club? Isn't it a shame they want their club to fail? And I always turn around to these types of people and say, sure, but why is me telling the truth negative?
You know why?
Why is that?
You know why they perceive it that way? Because it goes against what they're saying. And it's the truth. That's why they'll attack you as a person rather than they attack the argument. I say it all the time. Disagree with me all you want, but attack my footballing opinion. Don't attack me. Go back at what I said. Dissect it. Let me land. You know what I'm saying? Give my full opinion on whatever it is we're talking about. Yeah. And then dissect said opinion. And then we can have the debate. Then we can have the conversation. That's what it is. So it goes against it because if Spurs were flying and they're the top of the league and it was all well and great and you were saying what you were saying, they wouldn't attack you, the person. They'd come back at the footballing opinion. Look, when they're the top of the league, we've got the second best defense in the league. We have the best attack. We've won 5-6 games on the bounce. We ain't lost in 10 games. All of these things. We're doing well they can't say those things. We're in the semi-final of the FA Cup, for example. We could win a trophy. But because none of those things are happening and Spurs are where they are, all right, well, let's blame Savva rather than actually
Savva
look at my favorite players.
Savva wanted this. So when Spurs win a game, right? This is what I love this about YouTube. I find this hilarious. So if I'm doing a watch along, right? It's crazy. I know how much money I'm going to make from a watch along and how many views I'm going to get depending on the result. And that is a real sad indictment. For the people that say I'm not a real Spurs fan, right? Bearing in mind, I've been a Spurs fan for 40 years. 40 years of putting up with this shit, Flawless. 40 years and I'm not a fan, right? What makes me laugh is these people go, oh, you want us to lose. You did it. Okay, cool. I want us to lose. Isn't it funny, though, that those people, right, only seem to appear in chats when Spurs win a game? Right? They're the same people that come into my chat and go, you're in the mud because Spurs won. Sorry, my team wins a game of football. I'm in the mud. Like, I can't. These are the links I can't between people being. Opinions are one thing, but so are morons, right? So are morons. Morons are another thing completely. And I just find it hilarious, right? Like, so last week, Tottenham won, right? Yeah. Against Man United. My chat after the game, I think I had 400 people during the watch along. Right? So for a couple of hours, I had 400 people. Then after the game, Spurs won. I think I got up to about 600 people after the game, after the show. It's normal. People drop off to watch the game and then they come back, right? Spurs lose to Brighton. I've got roughly 400 people watching the watch along. Next thing you know, I've got 1,300 people in the chat after when we lose. Right? But they're all going, you wanted to lose. Hang on. You guys have only shown up at a show because we've
Lost.
Because we've now lost it. I don't get it. You guys, what they want to see, they want misery, right? These people, you watch it. When your team wins, you will get less than when your team loses.
Oh, facts. Oh, facts.
And that, 100%. For me, blows my mind. It blows my absolute mind. Blows my mind.
It does. It blows my. And me too. But misery loves company. You mentioned it there, and that's key within that. That them same people, when you lose, will show up. But when you are, what, you're a Tottenham Hotspur fan. Why would you want Tottenham Hotspur to lose? I'd never understand. Oh, you're in the mud because my team won. But again, shout out to my guy Lex. He mentioned this. A lot of the time it's because when people be making these outlandish claims about Spurs, because we'll use that as the example. When they are saying what they say, they want to believe what it is. When they hear you being critical, they think in their own minds that you want to be right. You don't want to be right. When you say Spurs are an awful side, you don't rate. You want Ange to be the best manager in the world. You're just looking at what you're seeing and don't believe it. You want your players to be the best in the world. You're just looking at them and don't believe it. That's not on you.
Do you know the funny thing is, if let's take last year, for example, and I found this hilarious, right? I was almost outcast by so many YouTube content creators and Spurs content creators and Spurs YouTube viewers, because Spurs, we know, had a brilliant start, right? We had that 10 games at the beginning of the season where we won 8, drew 2, we're top of the table. And I don't jump on board easily with hype, right? For me, I'm too old and ugly to know this, that you don't get excited so quickly, especially being a Spurs fan. So anyway, after that 10 games, I've turned around and I said, listen, this is all well and good, but football is played over 38 games. We've seen teams have 10-game runs, 15-game runs. We've then seen teams lose 6, 7 in a row. I said, for me, are we ready to win a title? I didn't even entertain the 1%. And I remember being on Saeed's show and he's going, surely like 5%. Nope. No. Surely 1% of you thinks we're going to win a title. Nope. Like, from that moment, negative. Savva's negative. Savva doesn't want to win things. Savva doesn't believe in the club. Savva. Like, to the point where I hate my name. And then what happens is Spurs start to fall away. And what I said to everyone at the time was, there's a huge difference between, first of all, a new manager bounce, which it was. Don't get me wrong. It was a bloody good new manager bounce.
It was a great manager bounce. It was.
There's a difference between a new manager bounce and consistency. And for anyone who doesn't know me, I constantly talk about consistency. I believe in that in all walks of life. Consistency. I want to get fit. I'm going gym. I'm not going gym once a week. I'm going consistently. Yeah. Yes. I gave up alcohol. What do? Consistently, I do the right things to make sure that I'm not putting myself in the place to drink. Right. Yeah. I want to do well at work. I'm consistently working hard. Right. It's consistency. So when I was turning around to everyone and saying, look, I'm not going to judge this after 10 games. Let's see where we are at Christmas. By Christmas, everyone's played everyone, right?
That's a balance. That's balance.
And we'll see where we are. If Tottenham are in the top 3 come Christmas, and we're within touching distance of City, Arsenal, Liverpool, whoever was there, I might turn around and go, well, why can't we win a league? But I said, let's see. Anyway, the next 10 games were shocking, right? After that first 10 games, Tottenham were nowhere near it. Injuries happen. Consistency wasn't there. Players going to African Cup of Nations, players going to the Asian Cup like Sonny, which we knew. Some people like me factored that in. Other people going, oh my God, I can't believe that we're losing them. Well, we knew that before the season started.
It started because you knew they was going AFCON and to the Asian Cup. We knew this.
Right. So all of these people, I'm going into all these chat shows and they're all talking about, oh man, you're negative and Spurs are winning the league. And I'm going on to Spurs panel only shows. And I'm the only one sitting there going, oh, no, of course we're not winning the league. The whole chat, you're negative, you're terrible. Go and support Man City. I get that a lot. Go and support City. Oh, you're a closet Arsenal fan. Don't know what that means, a closet Arsenal fan. But sure. And then what happens over the year is what I was saying. It's not like I'm not Nostradamus. It didn't take a genius to see this.
Doesn't.
Spurs leveled out to the club that we are with the squad that we've got. We leveled out to be the 5th best team in the league.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the players, the manager, or the consistency and the know-how to win a title. But anyway, off the back of that, I'm thinking to myself, right, I'm going to get a little bit more leeway this summer. I'm going to get some more leeway this season because people actually realised, hang on, Spurs, Savva was right last year. And it's not about being right, but what Savva said actually came true. Okay, let's slow down a little bit here.
Let's actually take some consideration to what Savva's saying because he called it spot on. He actually called it spot on. So maybe, just maybe, Savva be supporting Spurs 40 years. Has an idea of what he's talking about. But and what he said, we seen play out. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
What happened this season is poor. Can you see what Ange is doing? Can you see what Ange? Big up, Guna. I love
DG every time. Yeah, man. Shout out DG.
Have you seen what Ange is doing? Have you seen Ange is putting together the best young players from across the world? I ask a question. Sorry. Who said these are the best young? Like, are we just making these things up? And then you see other content creators, and I've got no problem with her. I don't know her. I've never spoken to her. Like that Alice girl, right? Okay. I see her. She's a very good creator, by the way. When she talks about my club, though, I do sit there and go, sorry, I need to come on because you're saying lots of nice things, but they're not correct. Like she's putting videos out like the other, like Spurs content creators are going, Spurs build best in class academy. Spurs are going to win everything. Spurs are scary. All of these things. And I'm sitting there going, hang on, I've just witnessed Spurs buy an 18-year-old from Leeds, an 18-year-old from Sweden who's never played top-level football. We've bought an 18-year-old Yang from South Korea who's basically going to be there for the marketing for when Sun goes. No offense. He's a good player, but I've watched us buy Wilson Odegaard from Burnley, and then I've seen us buy Dominic Solanke. Right, so in the whole transfer window, and not forgetting Timo Werner, and in this whole transfer window, I've seen us sign one senior pro in terms of Dominic Solanke, right? One senior pro, and I've got people making videos about Spurs being scary. Spurs are going to win titles. What Ange is doing is different. Now, when the people hate me, and sorry to go off on a tangent, and
it's cool. Get off your chest. It's cool.
Right? It makes me laugh, right, is I'll sit there and I've not changed my opinion all season. Right? I've not changed my opinion. I've sat there and I go, this is Spurs' worst start to a season for 17 years. Oh my God, are you surprised? No. Not really. We didn't strengthen. Like, not really. I don't think the manager's that great. Like, all of these things that I say get misconstrued as Savva's negative. The thing is, I want to sit at the end of this season for all this. I'll come on your show and go, I can't believe Spurs won the league.
Of course you want to say that,
I can't believe. Flawless, you and I both know that's not happening. You and I both know come the end of this season, right? Tottenham can finish 5th for me. I've said 7th. I predicted 7th when the season
I had you
started.
6th, but I hear you. Yeah.
Is it beyond the realms of possibility to get 4th, 5th, or 6th? It's not beyond the realms, but last year Tottenham completely collapsed with a bigger squad and in no competitions other than the Premier League. This year we're playing Europe. This year, hopefully, we're going to go further in the cups. And we've got a smaller squad. We've replaced it with a lot of younger players. And what fans do, Flawless, and this is what makes me laugh, is they don't want my evidence or facts. They want the feel-good factor that these kids are going to play together, progress together at the same rate, all become world-class together, and in 5 years, Tottenham have got the scariest team in the world. Problem is, Flawless, I'm 41, I'm old, I'm ugly, I've seen this before. I've seen How many kids you seen hyped up at Man United?
Yeah, so many. Yeah. Everyone's the next star. Everyone's the next superstar who's going to carry you down. It very, very, very rarely works out. Extremely rarely works out. 110%.
I mean, I just find it funny. And this is the thing. People want me to come on stream and go, we're brilliant. We're amazing. I don't, because I've been here, I've seen it, I've done it before. And I get it when it's the younger generation that don't have the patience, the know-how. And I'm not patronizing, they're just younger, right?
Yeah, they don't know any better. That's why I'm like, when it comes to younger fans, I'm like, fairs. I give them a black because I'm like, we don't know.
When
any
it's
better. I was
men,
like that. Yeah.
When it's grown men flawless, grown men going, why can't we win the league? Oh God, do I have to explain it to you? Do I truly have to explain to you why Spurs can't win the league? Just hope, Savva. Yeah. I mean, I hope that Margot Robbie's going to turn up on my front door and ask me out on a date.
Hey, you know what? That's the one I use. That's my celebrity crush. I use her all the time as the example. Yeah, facts.
I love her.
Yeah.
It's look, Forrest. I'm not a kid. I don't believe and it will happen. This isn't a Disney movie. This is me looking at Spurs going, do we have a great squad? I don't think we've got a great squad. I think we've got some good players. I think we've got a lot of inexperience. I don't think we've strengthened what we needed to. Is the manager great? I don't think he is. He's got a lot to prove. I'm really wary about him. People don't want to hear that. And apply that. And now I've had that for the last 15 years, whether that be YouTube, podcast, Twitter. And do you know the funny thing? Spurs in all of that time still haven't proved me wrong about any of it. Spurs haven't won a trophy. Spurs still don't sign top players. No manager's got over the line. But somebody's in the chat has called it absolutely right. Hopium and copium.
Hopium and copium. Shout out to my guy Matthew. That's what it is, because he's a United fan, and me and him discuss this on a regular.
It's mad. So that's the type of creator I am. I'm honest. And I'm sorry if that goes against the flow of someone's show where they just want all positive. I'm sorry if that goes against what fans want to tune in and see. But I find it funny as well. We're in an era where growing up, right, you didn't support a footballer or a manager, right? You supported Man United.
Facts.
You supported Man United.
Yeah.
We're in an era now where lots of people seem to follow managers around the world and players around the world. And listen, I don't know if I'm just old, but I can't.
No, it's not Player FC. I can't stand it either. Yeah, right? I stand FC. I'm Defense League.
It's madness. Like we had it with Ndombele when he came here. It felt like there was this wave of people that Ndombele, listen, a supremely talented footballer on YouTube clips, did nothing in a real game, right? And people, rather than just going, he hasn't done well, it's you don't know ball. That's my favorite. You don't know ball. You don't understand football. And it's like, well, okay, but can we wait for the guy to achieve something before we put them on pedestals? Nope. And we've had that lately. We had Jose Mourinho, right? I've got nothing against Jose. Jose's one of the best managers that ever lived. But we had all these new fans that started joining Spurs because of Jose. And I've got nothing against people joining a club and being a fan. That's great. Build the fan base. But then they start telling the people that have been fans like me for 40 years about my club. You don't understand Jose. Whoa. Hang on.
Do you understand Spurs?
Do you understand Spurs? Like I completely understand Jose. And unfortunately, I'm going through that at the moment again with Ange. Ange Postecoglou has got a lot of people that have followed him. And again, I've got loads of Australians that watch my show that are really cool. I speak to them offline. But then there's this wave of Australian fans that hate me because I don't bow down to Ange. Right? You don't know Ange. They talk about him like he's their dad. And I stand up and I go on then, finish about Ange. Ange does this. Ange does that. Cool. Let me tell you about the facts of Tottenham Hotspur under Ange. Ange hasn't won this many games. Ange's defence have done this. And people don't want that. They want
nice. The positive. They want that. Yeah, they want that toxic positive. That's what that is. It's crazy. Yeah, it's mad. Before we do indeed close out, hey, you lot again, make sure you subscribe to Savva's channel, Football Heritage TV. The link is in the title. Click the link, open up a new tab, subscribe. Yeah, I'm on the road to, what is it, road to you for what now? Is it 30K? What number are you at? The road to 30K?
I'm actually, no. I'm on, I actually lost about 2,000 subscribers when I had the 3 months off, so I've had to build it back. I'll show you. I won't show you my revenue.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, get him to 14K, people. Get Savva to 14K.
101.
That's what it is. 101. There's over 160 of you lot in the building, so subscribe to Savva's channel, people. Run up the likes and continue to run up the likes on this video. Subscribe to Sarcasm City TV YouTube as well. So you're back now in the space.
Yeah.
What was it like coming back? Yeah, what was it like when you actually came back to Football Heritage TV? Like when you came back after the long layoff? And you was like, I know exactly what to do now because you've trialed and errored it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was it. I knew what I was going to do, and I surrounded myself working with people that I like working with. I said to myself, I'm not going to go on loads of other shows. I've been asked to do loads of things, and I actually have to say no because it's not fair to them.
That's good.
It's not fair, and I don't want trouble following me around to YouTube comment sections. Listen, it was good coming back. I picked and choose what I did. I did it during a time when it was pre-season, so it was nice. I slowly got into the pre-season games. Listen, there was that pocket of hate that I knew I was going to get. Oh, this guy's left and then come back again. This guy's a this, he's a that, and he's a flip-flop. And look, it is what it is. I said to people, look, you don't know, YouTube isn't my life. Right? Sometimes there might be things I have to take care of in my life that, believe it or not, are a little bit more important than whether Tottenham Hotspur win a game of football or not. Right? Do you know what I mean? Some things are a little bit more important than, oh my God, where's Savva? He didn't do a watch along.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Do you know what? I've got a wife and we got family dues and
you got stuff to do.
I've got a life. But yeah, listen, on the main, I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. There's some idiots out there, of course there is.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see a new wave of content creators coming through. Some are respectful, some aren't. I see a lot of these content creators that I like it. Some of them actually ask for help. How do I do this? How did you do that? Those people I love. And it's not from an ego point of view, but I love that they're like, hang on, you've clearly gone through a journey. How do I go through that journey? I like those people. I don't like the chancers. I don't like these people that have just got 500, 1,000 people. And what they do is instead of saying, right, how do I get that to 10,000 and grow? It's let's try and attack the bigger channels. And I think to myself,
People trying to
alienating people, mate.
Yeah, trying to be lazy rather than actually put the serious graft in. That's what that is. That's lazy to do that. Very, very lazy. That's what people are wrong with that. So you're back. So what is now the future plans with you as an individual content creator and the future plans for Football Heritage TV as well?
Yeah, do you know what? Listen, mine's probably not going to be as sexy as some of the other people you've had on, because look, my goal isn't. Look, if I had started this maybe 10, 15 years ago, who knows? If I had never shut down a Spursy podcast, I reckon I'd probably be somewhere on about 40, 50,000 by now.
But that's on its way. That's on its way. You well on your way to that. You're at 14. Well, about to be at 14K. Trust me, you're going to get there, Savva. 100%.
But it's less important to me now, Thor. This is the point.
Okay.
Like, there was a time when it was like, right, how do I, right, I'm on 3,000. Got to get to 5. Oh my God, I'm on 5. Got to get to 10. Got to get to 50. Now, listen, it's nice to grow. And obviously, if you're growing, you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
But I've got no end goal in terms of I must hit this. Like Mo said yesterday, Mo made the decision to go permanent.
Yes.
He would have weighed up in his head, I need X amount of subs, X amount of views, X amount of videos a month to pay the bills. Hats off to anyone that does that. That's a big thing to do, not knowing you're going to get a regular paycheck. For me, I've got that comfort blanket. I've got a job. I'm comfortable with my job. I'm good at my job, right? Don't ask my boss. He might disagree, but my boss is actually a Spurs season ticket holder, which is quite funny.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
But for me, there's no like, oh my God, I must get to 20K by the summer. There's nothing pending on it, Flawless, for me. And that allows me to enjoy it. That I don't say to myself, this month I need to make $4,000. I need to make $3,000. I need to make two. I don't. I don't
with
plan
that.
it like that now. I just go on. I enjoy, and more than anything, what I've learned, and this is all I can advise anyone who's starting a YouTube channel.
Talk about
is shut off. Do your show. Shut off. And I used to be terrible. I used to go into everybody's chat in the Spurs community, start debating people in the show. What I've realized is it's a thankless task. It consumes you. So now I pop into people's shows. Like I popped into yours last night.
You did. I appreciate that. Thank you as well. You did. You popped up. Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy that I actually seem to get a lot more, for lack of a better word, a lot more love and positivity towards me from channels that aren't Tottenham. And that is mental, right? That's my club. That's my club. So, yeah. No. It's just I've learned to, you know, like last night I did a stream. I finished at 8 p.m. I finished at 7:30. I switched off. I went and watched Slow Horses with the wife on Apple TV.
Oh, Slow Horses is a phenomenal series. Hey, Brilliant. If no one's watched Slow Horses, I can't wait for season 4. Yeah. I rushed through that. I watched that religiously when season 4.
We're on season 2. But by the way, there are other good box sets and other mediums about. So don't just take Slow Horses. But I liked it. I did the show. I switched off, and normally I'm flicking through my comments. I'm like up to 6 months, a year ago, Flawless, I'm doing this. I'm scrolling like, what's the new comment? Yeah. Now I'm a little bit more like, cool, I'll get to the comments, and you know, I can't please everyone, and you know what? Nothing I write in my comment section is going to change how anyone feels about me. Like,
absolutely not.
I'm learning slowly, but I'm learning what's good. I'm learning what's bad. I'm learning who to work with, who not to work with. I don't like fake. Can't work with fake people. I can't do it. Can't do it.
I'm with you on that. I can't. If I don't rate you, like I'm like, it's not gonna work. Not in the slightest. Not gonna work whatsoever. It isn't. I hear that. So you mentioned there's no real. So you're just like having fun out here, because you mentioned it that because you've got a job. It's not your full-time thing, so you don't have to hit a certain criteria. You don't have to hit a certain number of subscribers, a certain numbers of viewers. You're just in a position where you can have fun and you can work with who you want to work with. You don't have to work with who you don't want to work with. Don't pay attention to any idiots calling you out, whether that's content creators or people who quote unquote they're fans, but people who want to try and hate in comment sections or on socials, etc. So where do you actually see the channel going? Because I think it holds no bounds. You're gonna hit 14K, I reckon, probably this month, and then there's a couple months left of the year, and then from then on, is it just continue watch alongs? Do you see yourself doing more with the channel? Like, I know you don't like the panels, but there is certain people you like working with. Do you see yourself doing maybe a little bit more on your channel or going on other channels?
Possibly. I mean, at the moment, it's really strange because I've kind of positioned myself a bit more now as somebody who does more live watch-alongs, less panel shows, and more premiered videos. And when I first started, and even up to a year ago, I was not the guy to watch for watch-alongs. You know what I mean? I was more of a panel show guy. So I've kind of flipped that. Look, I want to be seen, I suppose, if we ask in a year's time, listen, in a year's time, if I get to 20K, cool, I'm happy to get to 20K.
Yeah, you're going to get 20K, 100%.
It is what it is, right? I mean, from my point of view, I just want to know that when I'm doing content, it's decent content. I do think that there are some people out there, and I get it, some people, it's their job. It is a lot of content for content's sake. And I think that's where I think a lot of YouTubers lost its debate, a lot of you know, it's kind of debate capacity. I think that's where it's got a little bit silly. But for me, I would love to be seen as the go-to person to do Spurs live watch-alongs. And for anyone in the chat who's watching me do a Spurs watch-along, I'm in it.
You're involved.
Right? I'm not falling off my chair. Right? I'm not whacking my head against the wall when we concede or score a goal. I'm not that guy. People accuse me, oh, you don't even get excited when we score. Well, no, what you mean is I don't fall off my chair and run around my room, and right. So I commentate. I give a full kind of commentary experience. I want to be seen as more that, more of my premiered videos, and just let the rest tick over. listen, I'm not saying I'll never do a panel show again. I used to have a Spurs show on Sunday nights. Every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Used to have a Spurs show. And it was great. I got different Spurs creators every week, and we talked about the week in Spurs. I might do it again, but I promised my wife that what I don't ever want to be tied down to is a definite time each day, each week, when she has to work around me. I don't want that.
You don't want that. 100%.
I don't want that. Now, if I was doing this full time and it depended on that money and that revenue, I'll put out shows every couple of hours. But I want it to be no more as quality.
I want it to be organic
over quantity. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I want it to be organic. I really that. I respect that. Is there anything we've missed in your journey on the way that you wanted to discuss? Anything?
I don't think so. Look, I think there's so many people that you could have mentioned on the journey, right? That I haven't, but not for a horrible way. There's so many people I work with that have really good channels, and we'd be here all day if I was going to shout out to everyone.
But I get you. I understand.
I suppose just a thank you to all of them, because they've seen me at my content creator best. They've seen me at my worst. They've helped me through those times. I've helped them through time. And you know what? What I've learned over the time is there's very few people in YouTube world that you can 100% trust.
I think that's just life, but I hear you. I get what you're saying with that. I think that's just
listen, my advice, if anyone wants to start a channel and wants to do it, pick and choose who you work with. Don't try and run before you walk. Have an angle. Have some content. I think too many people, for me, look, each to their own, and people can do this for a laugh. Too many people, for me, set up a channel and don't have an angle. I don't know what they are as a creator. They say nice things about their club, and I can think of loads of Spurs ones. It's lots of nice stuff, lots of tea party vibes, but it's like, what and listen, not everyone has to be like me, but I got in it to actually have some conversations about Spurs.
That's your like you said, that's your MO, that's your whole angle. That's what you're with.
That's my angle. I want to talk. I want to have the difficult conversations, right?
The uncomfortable conversations.
Spurs won, it's amazing. Sure, Spurs just won 5 games in a row before we lost to Brighton, and everyone's losing their minds. Again, I'm trying to stand there as the voice of reason, say fine, but
keep the feet on the ground.
Games, we should have been winning those 5 games. Let's see what happens when we play a good team. What happens? Next good team, we play Brighton, we completely capitulate. But people don't learn, and they call me negative for it. That's fine. People want to be positive about the club. That's fine. I can't be fake about my club. Flawless.
Talk about
I can't do it.
And that's why that's why I enjoy your content, because I know you're being super honest. I know you believe whatever you are saying about Spurs or about anything else, whether I agree with it or not, which is just the base point for me. And I think that's the base point for a lot of people, why you've had the success you do, why you've worked with the content creators you do, and why you will continue to. Like I say, you go hit 14K and continue to grow. You're going to be at 20K in no time, then 30K, and then so forth, 40K, 50K, etc.
Well, I think the
and you're doing that at your leisure.
It's something that I've just seen Perchy pop. It's something Perchy and I talk about quite a lot. Is there are people that they set up, their aim is they want to be on Sky Sports, right? They want the phone call from TalkSport.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not knocking that, Flores. There is nothing wrong with that. Right. I got a phone call from William Hill. Right. I did a William Hill thing representing Spurs, and it was completely not what they were expecting from a Spurs fan. I was literally there. Like, they were like, oh, people are saying it's going to be, it's going to be all over William Hill's website. Are you going to say all these nice things about Spurs? Yeah. Am I heck? I went on. I was honest. I said my feelings.
Yeah.
But some of these people are scared. They won't debate with others. What they do is they're very good at making videos about you. So I won't mention names, but there are people on Instagram and X that are constantly very good at talking about creators like me. They're this, they're that. You message them, sure. Should we have a debate? Do you want to come and have the chat? Nah. All right, cool. But you've just called me out to your following. Like, you don't want to. No, but sorry, but what you've said there isn't what I said. I didn't say this. You've paraphrased something else. Those people is fine. I'm not going to mention names. They're the ones they get invited to TalkSport, right? These are the people that believe in what they say. These are the people that turn around and say things like, oh, if Spurs and Arsenal had a combined 11, 8 of the Spurs players get in. And you're like,
no, they
there
don't.
is a reason to go, isn't there a reason they've challenged for 2 titles in a row? Like, but these people say it, they get invited onto these massive shows. And if they want to do that, that's fine. But when the camera turns off, I like knowing that everything I said in that show was my honest truth. And it wasn't to impress anybody. And it wasn't to try and get a gig. Now, if TalkSport call me tomorrow and go, do you want to come on? I'll go on.
No, go on. But you're going to be honest. Yeah, I'll be there because I know exactly what you're going to say, Savva.
Right.
You're going to be honest. You ain't going to sugarcoat it. No, it's not good. You going to be the exact same you are on Football Heritage TV, on TalkSport, on William Hill, on Sky Sports, wherever you are. You're going to be 110% Savva. That's what I'm there for. You're going to be honest about it. And that's it. Do you rate Ange? No, I don't. No. And here's why.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like all this. You know, listen, one thing, I don't like clickbait. I'm not a fan of clickbait. I'm not a fan of those thumbnails. It's not me. You know, I can't do titles saying Spurs are scary. God, Jesus Christ. Let's win something before we, you know, Spurs future is phenomenal. Based on what? You don't know the future. What are we doing here? Like, I just can't do it. I really, really can't do it. And unfortunately, a lot of people want me to do it. Right?
Yeah, be you. That's what it is. Just be, and that's what I rate. Savva, we speak on. You're just you, and that's what it is, and that's why I respect it. I'm like, Savage is gonna be honest about things, and that's cool. And you're not gonna be, like you said, you don't have to title things or such and such a team scary, or like I say all the time. That's my MO. This is why we get on. Win something. People out here trying to call teams elite, and they've done nothing elite. I say, I'm like, what have they done that's elite? Oh, such and such is an elite manager. What has he done that makes him elite?
But flawless. We live in it. And by the way, big up Roms. I love Roms.
Yeah, shout out Roms, my guy.
Rob said it, I think, about an hour and a half ago, where he turned around and he said, it's living right. Roms, you said something about right now. It's people live game to game. So, for example, Spurs have got West Ham this weekend.
Yeah.
I think Tottenham should be beating West Ham at home. Right? Mm-hmm. I think we should, right? I'm not saying West Ham are terrible. I think we should be beating teams like West Ham. When we beat West Ham, right? Living in the moment. Yeah, thanks, Rob. When we beat West Ham, what we'll get is, oh my God, see, we're back on track. We're amazing. We're winning. People don't want to let things play out. And they didn't learn from last season. They didn't learn from a few years back when Conte had our best start to a season ever at that time. And it's like, it's different this time. No, it's not. It's different when we achieve something, right? It's different when we finished 4th in the league, flawless. Spurs fan, I bet we finished 4th this year. Sure. Is that meant to put me down? I've seen Spurs finish 4th.
You've seen me turn. I've seen you finish 4th. Yeah. You've not been in the Champions League numerous occasions. Yep.
I've seen us finish 2nd. I've seen Spurs win FA Cups and League Cups. When I was 2, I was taken to the UEFA Cup final. I don't remember any of it. I was 2. Spurs won what is the equivalent today of the Europa League. Spurs won that. I've seen Spurs win shit. And I'm meant to believe that 5 games where we beat Ferencvaros, Karabag, Coventry, Brentford, no offence, but a Man U
terrible
team
Man United. Talk about it, man.
That is apparently meant to make me go, this manager is... No, I will sit and say this manager is special. Come the end of the season, show me some trophies. Show me that we're capable of beating the better teams consistently, right? Show me how you take these 18-year-olds you've signed and turned them into top footballers. That's how I'm going to judge you. But honestly, the Spurs fan base is the most arrogant with nothing to be arrogant about. I've never known anything like it. Listen, the Chelsea fans, they can be arrogant. All right, they've had a couple of years where it's all been a bit hit and miss. Before that, they were the most decorated club in the country for 20 years.
Yeah, they was.
Be arrogant. Put your chest out. You win things. Spurs fans are going, but we're different. Everyone would want Ange. Everyone wants Archie Gray. What are we? What are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I just
I gotta get you
it.
back on to talk Spurs during the season. Sorry, go on, carry on.
It's the equivalent, right, of when I was younger. You go. I mean, I don't know. You might still go clubbing. Like, we go clubbing.
Yeah.
And you've always got that mate who thinks he can pull anyone, right? You've
got yeah. Facts. We all got that, brethren. Yeah.
And when you're not with him, the nights you're not out, you should have seen this girl I told. Oh my God. The nights you're with them, you're going,
let's see.
Go on then.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, let's see.
Her, I really like her. Go on then, go and get her number. Yeah, in a bit. No. Go on, go get a number. Go and talk to her. Right. That's the equivalent of Tottenham Hotspur fans. We want to tell everyone we are amazing. We don't actually want to get there first. And people call it backing your team. People call it positivity. But I can't, listen, I could turn around to you, Flawless, and go, do you know what? What day is it today? Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
It's the Euro Millions. Do you know what? Don't worry, love. Quit your job. Not you. Not calling you love. I was like me ringing up my wife and going, quit your job. Why? We're winning the Euro Millions tonight. How do you know?
Just believe. Just believe. That's it, man. Just believe.
I believe. Like, and I keep saying to these Spurs creators who are going, I think we're better than you think we are. Sure. But how many of our 11 get into Man Cities? Right? People, right. That's what we're competing against. Right? That's what you're competing against. Let's wait until we. I don't know, man. I find this space so funny, and I just want to do a quick shout out. I've got one WhatsApp group in, right?
Good.
I'm in one WhatsApp group, and it's a group of people that I've been in a group. There's no content creators in there. The only person that resembles a content creator other than me is Perchy, who used to do it.
Okay.
And Nige Pure Coys is in it. He's just started his journey. And please, subscribe to Nige. He's a great guy. But we've all known each other for years, from back in the day on Twitter, from about 10 years ago, where we had a group. You could have a direct group in there.
Yeah.
And we, at the time, it was called Levy and Enoch Out. It's like 10 years ago. And we moved it onto WhatsApp, and we've called it Wiser Spurs. Right? And the reason we call it Wiser Spurs isn't an arrogant name. It's all grown-ups in there that we can talk about football, the good and the bad, without anyone calling anyone else an idiot, without anybody going, oh my God, you're so negative, or oh my God, you're too positive. It's
just having a genuine conversation. Yeah, 100%.
Genuine conversations. And we're often in there talking about, when we see, like, when some of these younger creators make these videos that are just completely, oh my God, just completely stupid, we put them in the chat and go, this person doesn't know anything about Tottenham Hotspur, do they? Like, it's mind-blowing. So a big shout out to those guys. They keep me grounded. They keep me sane. And I know that once I come off the craziness of YouTube, I go into that WhatsApp group and I get some sanity back. It
lets you know. It pulls you. It's like, all right, it's not just me. Saying I'm not going crazy. It's not just me. But Savva, you see, even like the last half an hour, 40 minutes of you talking about Spurs there, I'm just thoroughly entertained. I feel like I'm in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I'm just locked in, just hearing you talk about Spurs. It's great. And I think that's to your greatness and what I said at the very start in the intro, what I've said during the show, how good of a content creator you are. Engaging. Carried it. You just say even the last 24 minutes of you just talking about Spurs. Yeah. Phenomenal. For true.
What I can't do, I find it horrible when you go into a content creator's chat room and they don't acknowledge the chat. Like, I get it. Some can't because they're too big. I get it. Yeah. But I think it's really important to acknowledge the chat, because at the end of the day, we're just football fans. People in the chat are just football fans. Absolutely. And why give people a platform to come in and talk about football if you don't acknowledge it? Like,
exactly. That's why I love my chat. I love my chat. I really do. I fully hear
your chat's cool. Apart from the fact that only 5 people have subscribed to me. Terrible.
Hey, you lot, go subscribe, man, to Football Heritage TV. Links in the title, jokers, man. Subscribe. But that being said, a lot of them would already be subscribed. But for those that haven't, make sure you subscribe. I know. But you lot, go subscribe to Savva, man, Football Heritage TV. Make sure you do so. It's thoroughly entertaining. Like I said, Savva, I'm definitely need to get you back on at some point already. in the future to talk Spurs, especially with everything that's going on at your club as well. Steve Sunshine saying it there. I was already subscribed. Big up to Steve. Nothing but love, Steve. You already know he said Savva's my bro. On and off, good stream. Hey, appreciate the super chat as well, Steve. Shout out to my guy Strasbourg, Steve, every single time. You see him on the channel on a regular basis. That's family tree right there. And he says Savva's, like I said, yeah, Savva's good on and off stream, man. For real, for real. And big up to Roms as well.
Can I just say just quickly about Steve before you go to Roms? What I love about Steve is that boy watches more football than I think I've ever seen anyone.
Nobody else like him. Nobody else like him.
But when he comes to a football conversation, it's brilliant because he knows who you're talking about every time. He fills in gaps that people haven't got. And he actually backs it up what he's saying. He's not just doing this, oh, I'm Newcastle, we're a mate. He's backing up information. So, yeah, man, a lot of time, a lot of love for Steve and Roms as well.
Roms my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Rum's, Rum's a real one. Steve, big up for the super chat. He says, big up Savva. In my humble opinion, the best Spurs content creator. Shout out to Rums every single time. He says, I love these shows, flawless. Missed the majority of it, but definitely gonna watch it on the playback. Big up. This is only the second one, people. I judged Mo yesterday. Savva on now. We're going to be redirecting to the next one, people, where Faz is on. So you already know that's going to be good, people. And then one later on tonight with Big Six Bances months. You know what I'm saying? So you lot already know. And see, look, you like saying it. I've been sub for 2 years. Just like to lurk. Love that. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real. Savva says, need Savva for the podcast flawless on a Thursday. I'm going to talk to Savva and get it patterned 100%. Without doubt. Definitely need to get him on at a later date. But Savva, anything else you'd like to add? It's been great hearing about your journey as well.
No. Listen, as I said, I'm always a very open, honest person. You know, anyone wants to ask any questions, I feel free. I'll answer them. I'm always honest. I'll always give my truth. I always try and look at things from a factual standpoint. I don't get carried away by a team, not just my team. I don't get carried away by teams who have a great game. I don't call players world class because they've had one good year. You know, I try and stay a bit more level-headed, but I just wonder sometimes there is a place for it, but sometimes there isn't. So that's just who I am. But if anyone wants to know anything, just ask. It's that simple. Yeah,
there you go, people. So again, subscribe to Savva's channel. Links in the title. Football Heritage TV. This show, all the other shows on the channel, people. All the second wave, all these specials are available on audio only platforms. So if you want to listen on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, etc., they're all on there. Follow Sarcasm City TV wherever you listen to podcasts. So Spotify, follow 5-stars. Same with iTunes, Apple Podcast as well. But Savva, this has been great. I'm learning about your backstory because I learned so much I didn't know about your backstory and everyone you'd worked with as well. So big up again. Love to everyone that's locked in. Savva, always great having you on, and definitely gonna get you back. Next time we do this, it's gonna be the gold special, 110%. The growth you're gonna do. Without doubt. Trust me, next time it's gonna be the gold special. For real, for real.
No, thank you. It's been nice to actually have some YouTubing without actually having to give an opinion on a player or a manager or a team or a result.
It's about you. Not giving you your flowers, man. That's what it's for. Yeah. Give people their flowers while they can still smell them, man. That's what this is all about. So we are gonna go.
If you'd be so kind to, when this finishes, just chuck Roms my new number.
Yeah. I'll send it to Roms. Yeah, I will do.
I'll explain why the new number. But yeah. So
all right, love Savva every single time. Big up to everyone in the chat. We are literally redirecting straight over to the third Sarcasm City special, second wave edition. Got Faz on. Big up to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it. Big up everyone for all the super chats as well. Big up to Steve for the super chat. Big up Tyler Jones as well earlier on for the super chat. And this has been Sarcasm City special on Football Heritage TV. Thank you very much for tuning in, and see you lot literally in 2 minutes to the third edition.